Hello and welcome to Finextra TV. I'm Liam Xavier and you join us at the Temenos Community Forum here in Copenhagen. With me right now is Barb Morgan, the Chief Product and Technology Officer at Temenos, and we'll be talking about trust. Barb, lovely to have you with us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And so a key point that you mentioned in your keynote is trust. It's a huge part about banking, it's a huge part of banking today. What do you find that banks are underestimating when it comes to keeping that trust for the end customer?
Yeah, it's been such a fantastic couple days here and getting to talk to our different customers and what resonated and actually I think reminded some of our customers was when I said, trust can be lost in a second. And it made them think about what are those areas of the business where we may still be doing that. And a lot of that is in those, it's good experiences. Trust is there, it's assumed, you expect your banking app, whether it's your app, whether you go in branch, everything's gonna work, everything's gonna be seamless. And so it's those moments that matter where something doesn't go the way it's supposed to and how your system reacts to it. Whether it's, you have fraud that occurs on your account, how quickly do they actually get you back to the state where everything's seamless again? And I think there's, a real need for banks to look at those areas that don't happen very often. Oftentimes you look at what are those high volume areas, but I think the underestimation comes in those low volume areas that really could have an impact to someone's life.
And if we're thinking about modernization, you mentioned again in your keynote that it's forward motion without disruption.
Yes.
What does that mean in practical terms for banks today?
Yeah, in the past, banks really had a couple options. Either deal with the system we have and put some things around it that might make it a little less disruptive, or undertake a full core banking replacement. And that's a large undertaking. And there's a lot of risk that goes with that as well. And so there's hesitancy that obviously comes with risk. Now with the ability to progressively modernize, and meaning you can take an area of the business, modernize that, and still leave everything else as is, and then you can progressively move along your stack. It gives the banks a lot of flexibility. Part of the challenge as well for banks is they have lots of priorities. And whenever you undergo a large core banking transformation, that takes a lot of the testing and breadth of your operational team. So if they can look at smaller chunks, they can upgrade the parts that matter, maybe the areas that are impacting their customers' trust, then that allows them to build that trust with their customers because they are looking at the pain points, progressively modernizing those, and then moving forward.
And you mentioned about transforming there. A huge part of that is AI, and that this discussion that we've been having for a while. It's raised the standard, raised expectations, but it's also sort of exposed a few issues within legacy systems. What have you found perhaps over the last year or so when it comes to what AI foundation should be in place to make sure that banks, institutions can service their clients using AI beyond just experimentation?
Yes. I think, if you think about the digital evolution that we all went through, call it 10 years back, where, that was really the place that you touched your customers most. And so there was a lot of effort put into that. But behind that, you still have multiple databases, your data is fragmented. And so in the age of AI, you need your data in such a way that you can leverage the AI. And so what we're finding with banks is the data is really the foundational layer that's very important. The benefit that many of our customers are seeing in the conversations that we're having with them is around, we're going to embed the AI into the tools that you already use so that you don't have to go and create that extra layer around. And so, it's already in the systems that they trust. We build the security and controls around it so that they can move forward, but still leveraging AI at the same time.
Really interesting. Always a pleasure to have you with us in the
Thank
studio.
you for having
thanks
me.
for joining.
Love being here.